Welcome back to Making Video Your Business, Season 2. Today I'm joined by my friend Neil Cobbold, who works for a fantastic company called PayProp. Neil, thanks so much for taking the time to come and see us.
It's a pleasure, as always, Chris.
Neil, give us a bit of background about where you find yourself now working for PayProp. You're one of the UK property industry's, I guess, most well-known suppliers of quality tech, I guess.
So, I mean, my background, a lot of people know it. I got into property for all the wrong reasons. I was a student in Sheffield, not really much money behind me, but people willing to give me a loan. Who else is going to do that to a scruffy Yorkshire 18-year-old? So I looked at what I could put my money into. I was working as well as studying at the time. And I looked for something that seemed to be a benefit to do evenings and weekends, but also, unfortunately, looked like you didn't need to know much. And I'm sorry, at that time, estate letting agent was top of the list. Over the years, I saw that become more of a profession, and I loved it. I went through my own growth, various agencies, and then moved into social housing. Had my battles with central and local government, which is always fun.
Having worked in that myself.
Yeah, and I thought that was me done for property. And so I did a couple of projects that involved me traveling. Spent some lovely time around the world. My wife not quite so happy. 2 people needing to run the family, not one jet setting around. And so I was thinking, what can I do? And I got contacted by the then president of the NFOPP, as was Property Mark, to say, we're about to endorse a piece of software. Said, you've always been a bit techie, Neil. Would you have a look at it? Tell me what you think. And I had a look at this piece of software that was absolutely phenomenal. If when I'd been an agent, this was exactly the kind of software that I was looking for. That money side that was always the contentious point, always where the emotions got high, whether it was the tenants paying or the landlords receiving. When money's involved, our emotions get a little bit heightened. And this just took all that away and simplified it. So I went and met the one of the original founders, Johannes, and he thought he'd already got it sorted for the UK. And I was like, okay. And I left thinking that would be it. And I got contacted a couple of weeks later and was told, no, we need you on board. At the time I joined, they were just going through a complete ready to launch. So that was in 2015. And they had 2 agencies on the platform transacting around 45,000 at the time, just testing. And still, to this day, our first customer that signed up in Scotland is still a customer of the platform, even now. But now, 1,300 plus different agencies, multiple branches for some of them, transacting hundreds of millions a month going through the platform. It's been a phenomenal growth.
What, in layman's terms, does PayProp do for its customers?
So it takes all of the payments that you receive and all of the associated admin with that and splits it down into as little human interaction as possible while making sure that nothing is forgotten along the way. So be that security, compliance, communication, all of that happens, but it now means that you seamlessly interact within your bank. People want this. They want the human side of the interaction, and that's where PayProp's really strong.
So it increases transparency. Great for an AML, anti-money laundering perspective.
It's higher than any standard you would be held to or look to be held to currently within any area that we operate. Wow. And that is hugely, and that's why people start use emotive words. People don't say, oh, it's really good because it sends out our statements, or it's really good because it can do payments same day transactions. Our salespeople like that, and that's where they'll go in. But actually the people who use it, they talk about the peace of mind that it gives them, talk about the sense of security.
So linking that with video.
Yeah.
I know, because obviously we're friends, that PayProp as a tech company has actually leveraged visuals quite heavily. How important have visuals become in telling the story of PayProp in order to generate, I guess, more business?
That's the key word that you use there, story. Everything else is static that you use. And we do use those. Let's not be, our brand is out there.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of brand positioning.
Yeah.
A picture tells 1,000 words, but not like a video does. You'll notice in our pictures, it's always human beings. It's never just the tech. Because again, that is what people are after. picture of a nice shiny piece of tech. I mean, I'm a tech gadget guy, so that gets me. I don't need a person holding a phone or a new gadget. I can take it just on the gadget, but that's not how human beings work. Human beings like an interaction, and a social story works better than anything else. And that is where you can leverage video. If you leverage video to just go and say how great I am, come look at me, yeah, I'm doing brilliant, then that's great. And if you're using that for an awards submission, it'll probably do you well. But if you're doing that to connect with your customers or potential customers, that's never going to work.
No. What sort of stuff have you then made, during the time you've been at PayProp, and how have you seen, I guess, things change and the adoption of that?
Well, okay, if I take it, because I've been using video probably 20 years, even when I was at the Housing Association.
Yeah.
Then it was very much, we were talking about situational stuff. We were trying to talk about what our future looks like. I suppose now I've seen video go a lot more outward focus. You want your customers talking about their experiences. If I look in at PayProp, it's been a mindset change for us. We've gone from seeing ourselves as a tech stroke fintech brand to being a lifestyle brand. And that changes how you approach your video. We're not there to sell you a platform or an off-the-shelf piece of software that you can connect that can do your video editing. We're there to be a partner. And to do that, we're allowing you to do more with your life, your business. So our change was this hashtag, more out of life, more out of work, because that's how we see more modern communication come in. I actually go the other way. I think the development of AI, augmented reality, means people are looking for more ways to engage with video that they see real.
Correct, yeah.
And that's what you've got to think about with video now. And that's where I think the development's going to be. Making stuff digitally using AI is going to become really easy. Making stuff that the human being at the other end can identify and consume, knowing that it's real, is a real engagement. That is where video is going to take itself.
That is a really interesting point, actually. And I actually was very flattered, but I was recently asked to put a bit of commentary into Elaine Pennell from Lemon and Lime Interiors. They do staging, so they put furniture into houses to help them sell. And she interviewed me and asked me about things like AI and what I thought the value of video was in the property sphere. And my thought process was 100% around that. Video content, even now, is significantly harder to doctor. There are new things where you can get a bit of a creepy version of yourself and the mouth moves and it sort of sounds a bit like you, whatever, and that will only get better. But seeing real things in visuals is still hard to do. People can tell, people can tell the real from the fake, right? And they can tell when it's at the moment, whether it's an AI person or whether it's a real person. Those lines will blur.
But then I think it'll be the importance of the video maker and the content.
Yes. Yeah.
If that video can be absolutely replaced by AI to the point where it's unknown to be different, then that's probably not the right video content.
No.
The right video content needs to be that the person watching it knows that is real.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it would be hard, very, very hard, even I think in a year or two's time, to create a fake video of a conference, for example, or a room where there's lots and lots of people in there and they're all saying great things about product or service or event or whatever. I think that would be very difficult because obviously you've got everything that's going on in the background. And you could film it in a studio and put green screen and whatever, but the cost of doing that and actually programming all that becomes really prohibitive. Where I see value in visuals, and it's a bit like the stuff that you've made for PayProp, is where you've got physical people. They're named, they're saying things about your business, or they're telling a story or whatever, and you can go and check that they're a real person that exists in the business that they say they exist in.
I'm of an age where we don't digest as much online content. When I look at your millennials and your Gen Zs now and their sheer ability to consume content and make judgments on it, it is phenomenal that is the life that they've grown up in. Because of that, video content is not going to change.
It's not going to change, but it's also not going to go away. All the new platforms are video first. But what is interesting, and it's a conversation I've had a lot recently with the advent of TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and things like that. Bite-size video content, that sort of really, really short form stuff. Now, I like it, and I think customers should be, or companies should be leveraging it, but I think that people are using it often in the wrong way. I feel like people should be thinking, right, well, how can I leverage this short form bit of video content to pull people into my ecosystem for longer form stuff? That is a real danger for businesses where they invest a lot of time and energy into these short form bits and they don't drive these longer form bits of content. Because what I see value, and I know PayProp do it really well, is actually telling a story that has value.
Everybody's had it where you hear a tune for the first time and then everywhere you go seems to be playing it. Or there's a new car and you see somebody drive it and now everywhere you go there's that car.
Yeah.
And it's something called the Bainer-Maynard principle. And it's the human brain likes patterns. So things that we've seen that we like, it tries to find other things and show us. So even if it's short form content that you are giving, if you give it in such a way that the viewer likes what it sees, it's then going to try and match and give people and try and see it again. So if it's for brand positioning and things like that, that's where I think your short form works. If you really want to engage with your customers and get them to reach out to your business, though, you can't do that without long form and stories.
Yeah.
So it can't be one or the other.
No, I don't
and they
think
can't
it should
be
be
separated.
No, I don't
They've
think it
got
should be
to be
one.
linked.
Yeah, I don't think it should be one or the other. But
Yeah.
I worry that a lot of businesses are investing a lot of energy into the short because it's quick and it's easy, right? And they are almost discounting the long, because all the stats that you'll read from HubSpot, Facebook, whatever. So yeah, the most engaged form of video content's like 13 seconds or 12 seconds or 8 seconds, whatever. And I'm going, yeah, because people will engage with it and scroll past it, or engage with it and scroll past it. And I get that. And it's great to have your brand seen and seen and seen and seen, right? But what I think is important is that they pair it with something with a little bit more substance.
Correct.
That's what
there
I'm saying.
has to be
I'm
a
not saying
bigger
you
call
shouldn't.
to action that if I'm not in that bubblegum mode and I'm actually wanting to engage, how do I now engage?
Yeah.
Or if I've gone through the bubblegum scrolling, how do I now get content of yours that I can consume more of and get to know more about the brand behind that short form content?
What would your top 3 tips be for anyone who's looking to improve what they're doing and think more seriously about how they're translating their messages to customer?
The first thing is really difficult. Imagine before you knew your product.
Yeah.
Go and try and look. And if you can't, put it in front of somebody who doesn't know your product and look at it with fresh eyes. Because we often start selling ourselves the story of why we're great and why our video content is great. But it's not to people like us that we're trying to convince. It's those people out there who are making that first interaction, who are going out and saying, what can I find out about this company? And they're the people we want us to make sure the message works. So try and get out your own baggage is the first one. Not only do you just need to start, but don't think that one video and you've got it solved.
Yeah.
It has to be continued.
Yes.
And once you start on that journey, your customers have an expectation that actually starting and stopping can be as detrimental as never starting in the first place. Because what does that mean? That you're no longer engaging with your customers? Are you not doing that content? Do you not want to make that for me to engage? So where I see people who've done video content and then you do some research into the company and then they've done nothing for the last 2 years, immediately those questions.
Yeah. Why did this stop?
Why did it stop?
Yeah.
And when we're talking about that trust, and then be honest. A lot of video content, I see people coming up, and even where we do it with customers are going to say, so what do you want me to say?
Whatever you think.
Correct. Where's it? Is there a script? Is there something? No.
Yeah.
You need to be honest. People can see script. People can see rehearsed. People can see if you're not genuine.
Those are all really good points. I think those points are really solid. But yeah, Neil, thanks so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Chris.
I wish PayProp every success through the rest of 2024.
I would definitely, to people who are watching on the podcast, keep your ear out. You will see a lot of things. Yeah, it is going to be a big year. And for our customers and for a lot of new customers out there, there's going to be a lot of developments for them to keep
going.
Keep going.
Mate, thanks so much.